الحمد لله رب العالمين أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We want to remind the people, please again, put your phones on vibrate and shut them off. You're like a doctor, somebody, you can put it on vibrate, but we don't want them ringing because it's a distraction. Jazakumullah khair. We mentioned, before we continue with the next portion, we mentioned some things, so our ulama review. It's not like khutbah. You just give something. No, you can like debate. You can, go back and forth because you want to make sure people, they understand, they get it. So, the first thing we mentioned was the 6 pillars. 6 pillars. Arkan, Eman, Islam. And we said that they can be either this number or that number.
5 or 6.
I didn't ask you to say nothing. Yeah, you blew it. You the one that got kicked out the class, right? You that guy, right? After school detention, no candy, all of that. Write his name down. Yeah, hold on. MashaAllah. We mentioned it could be 2 different numbers, or canon Iman. Why did we say it can be 2 different numbers from the floor?
Because in the Quran it's mentioned 5.
He said in the Quran it's mentioned 5. Is he right or wrong?
Right.
Say, what's the 6th one? Where does that come from? Is it an opinion? Is it a statement of companions? Is it something the Prophet said?
There's an emphasis from Rasulullah.
MashaAllah. Tayyib. So, do we say that the Quran is over the Sunnah, or the Sunnah is over the Quran, or do we say it's 5 and 6?
Just 5 and either or.
MashaAllah, either or. And why did the Prophet mention the 6th one that Allah didn't mention when he talked about belief in those things? Why did the Prophet mention the 6th one?
Because it relates to belief, to emphasizing the belief in Allah.
Somebody said it's emphasizing belief. Somebody else. Why did the Prophet mention the 6th one, which was not mentioned in that way in the Quran?
It was the emphasis to put the belief in the unseen.
MashaAllah, the emphasis and the belief of the unseen. MashaAllah. Allahu Akbar Kabir. This is very important. And, this is also one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon everybody that's here and everybody whom this reaches their ears from the blessings and the virtues of our scholars. Because, this is where we drink from, the ulama. But we don't worship them. We drink from the Quran and the Sunnah. We take from the Quran and the Sunnah. That's our 2 sources. هذا يعني المصدرنا يعني هو كتاب والسنة. لكن العلماء يعني يبين لنا ويوضح لنا يعني هذه يعني قواعد جليلة. But the scholars, they clarify and they make clear to us and they bring out the things for us, so they can be in the most clearest way for us, that we may worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala basira, upon knowledge, evidence. Tayyib. So, somebody tell me the 5 arkan that's mentioned in the Quran. Not the same person, somebody else in the middle. What are the 5 articles of faith? Belief, Iman. I said the middle. You sound like you to the right. I'm blind, but I understand direction. I said from the middle. See, one of the things we didn't do was talk about the etiquettes of talabah al-ilm. We didn't do that. We did that in Albany a little bit. You have to know how to do something. And many times, the Prophet, before the person in the middle answered, the Prophet would ask them something. You guys read this all the time. And they would, most of the time, what would they say when the Prophet asked them something? Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khairan, barakallahu alaykum, may Allah give you abundance of blessing. He would say, Allah and His Messenger. They would say, Allah and His Messenger knows best. Why would they say that?
It's the truth.
Somebody says the truth. Can I get an amen? Amen. It's the truth. Congratulations. Why would they say that? Aside from it being the truth.
Because they didn't want to speak before.
Somebody said to show respect.
Salam
You don't have to keep saying salam alaikum. We mentioned that too.
alaikum.
That's when you come in and you leave.
Okay.
What though?
He said because they didn't want to speak before Allah and His Messenger.
Tayyib. Yani if the Prophet asked them something, yujibahum ala, yani yujibahum. Yuzamahum ala ijaba. If they have to answer. But now if the Prophet tells them something, and then they follow their desire, then this is speaking, or if they raise their voice over the messenger, oh Muhammad, like this, then this is, so that, that's not it. So number one, because he did after Allah no more than them. So Allah and His Messenger knows best, that's true. But all of the ulama, they said sometimes those companions, they knew the answer. But they still said that. Like Ubay bin Ka'b, Prophet said, yeah, Ubay bin Ka'b, ayatin, a'lama ayatin fil Qur'an. What is the greatest, most single ayat in the Qur'an? Ubay didn't answer him. Now Ubay bin Ka'b was from the ulama of the Sahaba. Min Qur'an, min Qur'an, with Hufad of Qur'an. He was from the people, memorized the Qur'an, and those who, in fact, led the Salat al-Tarawih. For all of those that read the books and hear the arguments that Umar led the people and told the people 20 rakat, 23 rakat in one narration, that's Abdullah ibn Abbas, 29. No. Umar came to the masjid and people were, shatta, halaka huna, a small circle here, small circle here praying, and he broke them up and he made this same companion, Ubay bin Ka'b, lead them, and Tamim, and Darren, lead them into Salah. And it's recorded that they led إحدى عشر ركعة كما كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the same way the Prophet did 11 rak'ah. So Ubay bin Ka'b, he said, Allahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam. When the Prophet asked him, what is the single most greatest ayah in the Quran? Then the Prophet asked him a second time. Then he knew, okay, I can't say that the second time. Then he said, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa hayyul qayyum. So that story and that question and that hadith is in Al-Aqidatu al-Wasatiyya. Al-Aqidatu al-Wasatiyya of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, when he wrote the creed for the judge, what the town of Wasatiyya, what they correctly should believe. When the judge asked them, write for us what we should believe, because there's a lot of turmoil and fighting and deviation. And that book is this narration. Is somebody over there with the food besides the cook? The chef?
One of the sisters.
Okay. I don't want no brothers over there. I don't want to have to break out no kung fu around. Stay from over there.
No, Eman is asking for if you...
Okay, Eman is a special guy. He's the muaddin.
She needs help.
Allah Ted. So, in this wasatiyah, when we studied it in Yemen, Sheikh Fawzan's explanation we studied because it was simplified and it was a lot less detailed than Sheikh Uthaymeen's. Like Sheikh Uthaymeen's was, as we say, a monster. Oh my God, so much detail. Some people studied that explanation of Wasatiyah, but we took Shaykh Fawzan. Shaykh Fawzan, he said, this hadith where the Prophet asked Ubay bin Ka'b, what's the greatest single ayat in the Quran? And he said, Allah is Messenger know best. He said, sometimes the Sahaba said that, although they knew the answer, لِمَزِيدَةِ الْعِلْمِ, because they wanted the Prophet to give them more knowledge. If they say Allah is Messenger know best, the Prophet may elaborate, give them something that they didn't have. But if they answer, then the Prophet may not give them nothing else because they answered. So it's not that they didn't know all the time when they said Allah and His Messenger know best. They would say that because they want the Prophet to give them more, give them some extra knowledge that they don't have, something on top of what they already know. So what does that mean? That means for us, nobody's asking us and we jump. Or we're asking somebody something and somebody else jump. Or we ask something and the person is eager to say, you know, I know this, that, the third, and I read. We see the way of the companions with the message. They wanted mazid al-ilm. You want more knowledge. The more you talk and say something doesn't prove you know anything. But the more you take in and you understand, that's going to help you to prove what you know. And you're not proving what you know to anybody except Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So this is a great benefit here when we talk about Ubay bin Ka'b, when the Prophet asked him, what's the greatest single ayat in the Quran? And he said, Allah and His Messenger knows best. Then the Prophet asked him again, and he said, Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyu wal-qayyum, meaning ayatul kursi. As that ayat is in the Quran more than one place, but here what's meant as ayatul kursi. So this, when we talk about the issue of the sitting in the circles of knowledge, and you know, sometimes we're jumping, it's not proper. It's not proper because you came to gain, and you're not impressing. And imagine, I'm sitting with the Shaikh talking, I'm saying, you're Shaikh, Ishmaeli, like the brother say for prison, Ishmaeli. What is Ishmaeli? With my broken Arabic. Let's say, get that clown out of my circle. He doesn't have manners, and he's got hen in his beard. He should know better. You know. In fact, tell him don't come back. Then I'll cry at his doorstep. I'm ignorant. I need to learn. And he might say, "Afallah, I forgive you. Don't do it again." Yeah. So we have to learn the etiquettes of talib ilm because this is ibadah. Tayyib. So when we talk about those 5 things we mentioned again, the 6th one actually is inclusive in the belief in Allah because it's something that Allah He does. He decrees, He decides. So that first one, yani aman billah, that means anything that's connected to Allah. His names, His attributes, what He does, what He likes, what He doesn't like, what He tells you about, what He knows that He don't tell you about, what He does because people do something, what He does only out of His mercy, etc. You get it? Is that clear? You sure?
Yeah.
So the decree of Allah and Allah's decision in deciding, it is really part of belief in Allah. But the Prophet emphasized it. He mentioned and tu'minu biqadri khayrihi wa sharrihi, because some of the ulama said most people, as it relates to deviation, this is where they deviated. And the issue of the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he emphasized that so that people could understand, don't mess up when it comes to belief in this. Watch out and tell that. Be careful. While it's not really a separate from the 5, but it's numerated because he mentioned it, but it's actually inclusive in the 5. Is that clear? Okay. We also said, with regards to dir, what is the meaning of dir? Dir has meanings now. And again, we're not talking about Coke 45 and stag, not that dir. We said dir in Arabic. What's the meaning of dir? Quickly. Righteousness. If I say righteousness. So if I get up and clap and say, Jesus, that's right, that's dir. No, why not? Why is it because people have their own definition. Let's say beer is righteousness. I get up, I'm a Christian, Jesus, that's beer?
No.
Why not?
One brother mentioned that it's shirk.
MashaAllah, 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 Allah Akbar. Because if beer is righteousness or any good deed or iman, as you see, Allah said, وَلَكِنْ بِرَّ, but however beer is, آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ. So the first part of beer is what? Belief in Allah. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. See, this whole psychology of the Quran is real. We can't be Muslim and think this way and that way. No, we have to think the way Allah put that thing in the Quran. So all of the issue of beer comes after Iman. If it's not tied to Iman, it's not beer. So shirk could never be beer. Kufr could never be beer. Bid'ah could never be beer. Hypocrisy, nifaq, could never be beer. Has to be Iman and Billah. Pure Iman and Billah. That's why we mentioned, when we talked in the seminar, the session, we mentioned at-Tawheed. Making Allah singled out in worship, in statements, in actions, supplication, in His names and attributes, what He does, all of that's connected. The Tawheed, making Allah unique, not making Him like His creation, giving Him what's due to Him, and not giving what's due to Him to somebody else. Iman, we didn't get to a ta'rif in Iman, but that's coming. Iman, belief in Allah, tabarak wa ta'ala, and then beer. Beer. Say it. So somebody who's going to say beer, one of the meaning of beer, somebody said righteousness. Give me another one, quickly.
Dutiful.
Dutiful. Dutiful to who?
To your parents.
MashaAllah. Another meaning of beer, quickly.
One of the Jannah.
One of the Jannah, one of the names of Jannah. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. Beer. And beer also, it means taqwa. To do what's right and to avoid what's wrong. There's another meaning of beer. Now, say it. When we talk about Iman, then some scholars, when they talk about this Iman, they bring many ayat from the Quran. And they bring many ahadith from the Quran. Allah had mentioned Iman in the Quran. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمَلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, except those who believe and do righteous deeds. Allah mentioned يَزْدَادَهُمْ إِيمَانِهِمْ مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ. It increases their Iman with the Iman that they already have. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentions in the Quran, when طَائِفَتَانِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ قَتَتَلُوا فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا, and when two groups of Muslims fight and make peace between them. Here Allah سَمَّاهُمْ يعني مُؤْمِن. Allah named them mu'min. That means they have Iman. So here Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned Iman. And the Prophet he mentioned al-Iman in the hadith in the Bukhari Muslim, وأخرجه إمام الترمذي وغيره. The Prophet he mentioned al-Iman بدع وسبعون شعبة وفي رواية تسعة وستون وفي رواية أربعة وستون. One narration says 70 something branches. One narration he said 69 branches. Another one he said 64 branches. 70 or 69 or 64. A'laha qawlun la ilaha illallah. The highest branch. Imagine you have a tree. You have a branch here, but then you have to climb and get up to reach the highest branch. The highest branch of Iman, the Prophet said, qawlun la ilaha illallah. It's the statement, la ilaha illallah. Statement. So this, the ulama, they said, number one, it shows you al-Iman that the father, that Iman has levels. Because the Prophet said, a'la, the highest level. which if the Prophet said A'la, the highest, then that means there's the opposite, which is Asfali, the lowest, or Adana, the least. So you have to understand the terminology like that. Like Allah mentioned, believer, mu'min, then that means there also has to be kafir, the opposite. Or if Salah mentioned khayru wa habba, more beloved and more love, there also has to be sharrun, yani wa abgha, yani more evil and more hated. You have opposites. If Allah mentions better, then that's worse. If Allah mentions beloved, then that's yani despised and hated. Here, the opposite, the Prophet is talking about Iman. So here, the opposite of Iman, yani is kufr. So here, the Prophet, when he mentions this hadith, the highest level of Iman is the statement itself, La ilaha illallah. Shows you that the statement La ilaha illallah is the highest and the first thing of Iman. Well, they say Iman illa bih. There's no Iman without that statement because it's the highest. And then the Prophet, he said, وَأَدْنَاهَا الْإِنَابَةُ أَذَا عَنِ الطَّرِيقِ. And the least amount of Iman is to move something out of the road or the path of the people that's harmful. That's the least amount of Iman, the least branch. And then he said, وَالْحَيَاءُ شُعْبَ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. وَالْحَيَاءُ شُعْبَ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. Now he didn't say which branch that al-haya'u was. If it's high, if it's in the middle, if it's low, if it's, he just said شُعْبَ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. And this haya'u, yani the ulama, they said this means that person yastahi, yani amam Allah wa amam al-nas. That person is embarrassed before Allah and he's embarrassed before the people. Many times people are embarrassed maybe in front of the people, are not embarrassed in front of Allah. Meaning when you're in secret, you do anything. Allah sees you, you don't mind. You don't care. It doesn't bother you. But if people see you, then you're going to hold up. You don't want to be criticized. You don't want to get a bad rep. But here, what haya'u, the scholar said, yani yashmal haya, yani amam Allah, wa haya'u amam al-nas, yani that you're afraid, you're embarrassed, you do wrong in front of Allah and in front of the people. And in front of the people. This is yani from yani al-iman. Now, so this hadith, the Prophet mentioned this, it shows you that, again, Iman is actions. It's not just a statement, as some people, they said that Iman, bima'na a tasdeeq. Tasdeeq means to make a statement, or really to, yani a tasdeeq, or yani ikraru, yani like to agree. To agree. This is Iman. So, for example, Abi Talib, أقر بأن يعني ابن أخيه يعني كان مصدقا وأن دينه يعني دينه دين يعني أعلى أديان في الأرض. This was Abi Talib. They said in the books that he agreed that his nephew يعني النبي الكريم Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was truthful. And what was the Prophet doing? He was preaching Islam. So if he deems the Prophet to be truthful, then that means he's agreeing that he's a Prophet. And he agreed that the Prophet had the best way on earth. That's called tasdeeq. But to say, I believe in Islam with your tongue, and to make the salah, then that part he didn't do. So many people, they say, al-iman bima'na at-tasdeeq aw yani iqraru bi shay. To yani affirm something or to yani agree with something. But Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in the Quran shows you clearly that iman is with the tongue, is with the heart and the body parts. And this is the belief of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Those people that follow the way of the Quran and the way of the Prophet and companions, they have to believe Iman is three. Yani qawl bil lisan, like what the Prophet here said, A'la qawl. It's the highest statement. So Iman is statement. Wa yani i'tiqad bil qalbi aw bil janani. And it's something tied to your heart. It's not like the hypocrites. They say, we believe, we with you, but in their heart, they don't believe it. Has to be two. And the tongue, number one, and the heart. And then the third one, your actions are called Iman. Your actions are called Iman. For example, Salah. Allah said, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. And Allah will never cause your Iman to be lost. That ayah was revealed when they were praying towards Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem, and then the ayah came down for them, يَتَوَلَّوْا إِلَى الْبَيْتِ اللَّهِ حَرَمِ الْمَكِّي, to turn around and face Mecca. So they thought, wait a minute, all those salat we prayed for 13 years towards Bayt al-Maqdis, we don't get no credit. It's just blown. It's down the drain. And Allah said, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. He will never allow your Iman to be lost in Surah Al-Baqarah. Ibn Kathir said, إِيمَانَكُمْ صَلَاتُكُمْ, your salat. So Allah used the word Iman for salat. Just like Prophet Sallam and the Hadith al-Qudsi, he said Allah used salat for al-Fatiha. So sometimes words are used to carry a meaning of something else. So this ayah in itself shows you that actions are from what? Iman. If Allah named Salat Iman in Surah Al-Baqarah, the concept of discussion, the context of discussion was Salat, but Allah said Iman. Why? Because He wants you to know that Salat is from Iman. And from Iman is to pray. That's why from the 5 pillars of Islam, comes to Islam. What's the first pillar of Islam? Not Iman, in Islam. Shahada. Shahada or Shahadatain?
Shahadatain.
He said Shahadatain. Anybody agree?
Shahada.
Shahada.
Isn't it either or?
So what's Shahada?
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
What's Shahada?
Bearing witness.
What is Shahada? I'm hearing 2-3 things from the floor. What is Shahada?
Be a witness that there is no God but Allah.
La Shahada, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. That's Shahada. Shahadatain means 2 Shahada. So Shahada is La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Ashhadu an La ilaha illallah. You say it when you call the Adhan Iqamah. You should say it in Tashahud, unless you're still trying to say Tashahud in English. And then Shahadatu Allah, that the Nabi Kareem is his messenger. So he said Shahadatain, somebody said Shahada. Which one? Shahadatain. What's in the Hadith? Bunya Islam al Khamsa. What's the first thing?
Belief.
Shahada la ilaha illallah.
Muhammad.
Wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Aywa. So it's one Shahada. We say Shahadatain, but really that's one Shahada. Because that wa means that it's part of it. Wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. But some scholars say if you're a Muslim, then you can say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Which is يتضمن وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. They said من كان كافر يلزمك على أن تقول شهادتين مع بعض. But if you're a disbeliever, you can't say أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. You have to believe وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. So for the Muslim, he can say أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله and mean وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله with it. But the non-Muslim can't enter Islam and say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, but I don't bear witness Muhammad is the messenger. Why? That's a kafir. لازم يؤمن بمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. بل لازم يؤمن بكل رسل. But you have to believe in all of the messengers. You have to believe in all of them. Now, if you say Shahadatain or Shahada, la bas, understand that. But sometimes the ulama get technical for the Muslim. You could say that because you don't believe that Muhammad is the messenger. That's a kafir. But for someone accepting Islam, he can't just be a witness to Allah and not Muhammad. Neither can he be a witness to Allah and Muhammad, but still believe Isa is the son of Allah. We heard that before. The guy took Shahada. Then he said, after we explained to him, said, you sure you understand? He said, yeah, I believe Allah is the one who created everything, Muhammad is the messenger, and that Jesus is the son of God. He said, no, you can't do that. Then he said, oh, well, I don't want to be a Muslim then. I still believe Jesus is the son of God. Miskin. That's what it was said in the Hadith of Bukhari Muslim, Hadith of about ibn Samit. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. That's the meaning. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Wa anna Isa Abdullah wa Rasulah. And that Isa is the servant of Allah and his messenger. وَكَلِمَةُ أَلْقَى إِلَى مَرْيَمَ وَرُوحٍ مِّنْهُ. And that he spoke to Maryam as a miracle, as a baby, and he was supported by Jibreel. وَجَنَّةُ الْحَقِّ وَنَارُ الْحَقِّ إِدْخُلُوا يعني وَجَنَّةُ الْحَقِّ وَنَارُ الْحَقِّ إِدْخُلُوا يعني الجنة بما كان من عمله أو كما قال. And people will enter the Jannah because of their deeds. Although we know we have hadith where the Prophet said no one will enter the paradise on his deeds alone, but deeds count. Because Allah bless you to enter because of your deeds, that's from His mercy too. That He guided you to those deeds, He guided you to Islam, He allowed you, facilitated for you to do those deeds. So it's not just deeds alone, it's more mercy than deeds, but deeds, according to Hadith, is part of you entering the Jannah. That's why we have this seminar. So when we talk about this issue, again, Prophet mentioned Eman and this Hadith 3 ways. Cold statement, the highest level of statement. Cold in Arabic means statement. So A'la cold, it's the highest, powerful, most loftiest statement in the universe, the highest level of Iman, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Second thing, you can't make a statement without believing it's true in your heart. If you do, you're a munafiq. So it automatically includes the heart. When you say, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. The Prophet is told to say that. But it didn't mean, oh, prophets say that and don't believe it. You say it and you believe it. The munafiqeen, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ مُنَافِقُونَ قَالُوا نَشْهَدُ إِنَّكَ لَرَسُولُ اللَّهِ. When the munafiqs come to you, those who play and fake and perpetrate that they're Muslims but they're not, they say, قَالُوا نَشْهَدُ إِنَّكَ لَرَسُولُ اللَّهِ. They said, we bear witness indeed you're the messenger of Allah. Wallahu ya'lamu innaka larasuluh. Allah knows that you're the messenger. He don't need their fake testimony. Allah said, Wallahu yashhad innal munafiqeen lakathibun. That those munafiqeen, Allah bears witness, they're lying. They don't believe in you, Muhammad. So they're saying with their tongue, ma laysa fi qulubihim, what's not in their heart. So Iman on the tongue. Number 2, in the heart. وعلى ماذا البدن أو الجوارح, and it's what you do with your body, like Allah said, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيَضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. He called the salat that they were worrying about, the reward being lost from turning from one direction to the next. He called سَمَّى اللَّهُ صَلَاتَهُمْ إِيمَانَهُمْ. He called their salat their iman. So this is the ta'rif. وهذه يعني ما يعتقد مسلم أن الإيمان قول باللسان واعتقاد بالقلب والجنان وعمل بالجوارح. That the believer, the Muslim, upon Kitab and Sunnah, the way of our Nabi, the way of the Sahaba, and those great ulama of the Deen, those from Ahlul Sunnah. This is how you know a person from Ahlul Sunnah. If they say Iman, statement on the tongue, belief in the heart, and something you show on the body part, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ مِنْ أَهْلُ السُّنَّةِ وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهَا مِنْ أَهْلُ السُّنَّةِ. Know that she's from the people of the Sunnah. But other people, they say different. Like, يعني, al-Khawarij. Khawarij. Say Khawarij.
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 They have this name because of their action, like a nickname. All of these groups, because they did something, they themselves took this name, the ulama, and gave it to them based on something they were doing. Qadriya. Say Qadriya.
Qadariya.
Qadriya.
Qadariya.
Qadriya.
Qadariya.
They were given this name because something they did. Jahmiya.
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 They were given this name because of their leaders, Safwan Jahm ibn Safwan. Jahm ibn Safwan. Jahmiya. They follow him in his belief. Murji'iyya. Say Murji.
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 Murji'iyya.
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 They were given that name because they did irja, action. So they became known as the Murji'iyya. You also have Mu'taziliyya with the ayn. Mu'taziliyya. Mu'taziliyya. Mu'taziliyya.
Mu'taziliyya.
They were given the name لأنهم اعتزل عن يعني جماعة المسلمين. They separated themselves, which is the meaning of اعتزل, to separate. So they became Mu'taziliyya, those who broke off from the group and separated themselves. All of these names were كذلك يعني الباطنية وإسماعيلية فاطمية Karamiya. All of these people, they got these names. Yani, because of something they did or somebody they followed. Ahlul Sunnah, we got our name from what we follow. Ahlul Sunnah, the people follow the Sunnah. And not in layman terms, we mean really, we follow the etiqad of the Sunnah, the belief of the Prophet, the belief of the Quran that the Prophet came to teach us. So these names important when we talk about Arkan al-Iman. If we talk about the Khawarij with regarding Iman, they were given this name لأنهم خرجوا المسلمين من دينهم. Kharaja means to go out. Kharaja. If we say Aina Zayd, Aina Zayd, where is Zayd? Aina means where. Zayd is the person. I say Kharaja, mean he left. Aina Ahmed. Everybody say Aina.
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 Aina Allah.
Aina Allah.
Where is Allah? That's a question the Prophet asked a Jariyah. Asked a young slave girl. When Muawiyah got mad because she let a sheep get away, he lost his cool and smacked her. He became remorseful, went to the Prophet, said, I smacked the servant girl. The Prophet said, bring her. Said, ain't Allah. Where's Allah? One narration said, fis sama, meaning above everything. Another narration, she points, she said, folk, he's up. He said, wa ma ana. He said, who am I? She said, anta Rasulullah, you are the messenger of Allah. He said, ittaqaha, fa innaha mu'minan. free her, emancipate her, she's a believer. And that hadith, the Prophet said, Ain Allah. Where's Allah? So if you say Aina Zayd, Aina, Zayd.
Zayd.
Where is Zayd? Aina, Aina, Ahmed. Where's Ahmed? Aina, Zainab. Aina, Muhammad. You ask him where that person is. So if I reply, you'll say, Kharaja. That means he left out. Khawarij is another form of the word. Khawarij, that means they taking people out of the religion. هذا يعني صيغة المبالغة. Khawarij, they're taking a lot of people out of the religion. كالعلي ibn Abi Talib. That man, no kafir. They decided that Ali is a kafir. والعائشة كافر. ويعني كذلك عبد الله بن عباس كافر. كنت معهم كافر. He said all of them kuffar. Why? Because they thought they had some knowledge of the deen that they didn't have. So Khawarij, they believe when it comes to Iman, if you do a major sin, I think the Baptist is gone. If you do a major sin, that you become a kafir. This is the opposite of the belief of Ahlul Sunnah. The Khawarij believe if you drink wine, beer, you smoke marijuana, and I know marijuana is legal now, but that doesn't mean it's halal in the deen, brothers. Take it easy. Because it's allowed in the country, in certain states, doesn't mean it's halal in the deen. That intelligent and have that. Understand that. Because some people have this fahmu saqim. They have this bad understanding. They think it's okay in America, so Allah is going to punish me. It's legal. لا. قد يكون يعني legal هنا وحرم الله سبحانه وتعالى من باب أخرى. But Allah made it haram. Vegas, prostitution, is it legal or illegal?
Illegal. It's legal.
It's legal. Is it halal, legal in the deen? No. Beer, wine, moonshine, mad dog. Is it legal in America to buy and sell?
Yes.
Have to be 21, right?
No.
Is it halal? Is it legal in the deen?
No.
No. You go to a strip club, what they have in that. You could go gamble, you could do scams, you could do a lot of stuff. If they say, okay, it's legal today, it never means it's okay, legal in the deen. So if that person, going back to the issue, does anything of said the Khawarij deem him outside of Islam? That's not from the religion of Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when it comes to Iman, they fail when it comes to Iman, the Khawarij. Any major sin, they deem you a kafir, wa khulud fil nar, and you're going to burn in hell forever. That's the Khawarij. Wa Mu'taziliyah, during the time of Hasan al-Basri. Hasan al-Basri, the great scholar, Imam Hasan al-Basri. The belief of Ahlul Sunnah is that you are a believer. We're talking about Iman. And we talked about the hadith of Mu'min Qawi, Khayrun wa Habba min al-Mu'min al-Da'if. The strong believer is better to Allah, more beloved to Allah than the weak believer. But they're both still Muslim. So the believer is not going to do major sins. He could make a mistake, hurt somebody's feeling, forget something, someone meet you at 12, meet you at 2, car broke down. But the believer, Mu'min Qawi, again, major sins he's not going to do. He's not going to take somebody's wealth unjustified. He's not going to make illegal intercourse. He's not going to use intoxicants. He's not going to gamble. He's not going to, Allahu Musta'an, backbite and spread tales. The believer's not going to scam and plot. No, that's a Muslim who's sinning doing that. So Hasan al-Basri, the opposite of the Khawarij, he said that the Muslim do a sin, he's still a Muslim. And that Muslim may go to the fire if Allah don't forgive him, but he'll come out and go to the Jannah if he have some tawheed, if he have his shahada. So, a group of them, they disagreed with him. They said, no. If the Muslim do a sin, he's not a kafir like the Khawarij. And he's not a Muslim, lakin huwa bayna manzilatayn, but he's in between the two. And then when he dies, then he's going to be in the fire forever. So the Mu'tazila, they made the one who's a Muslim who doesn't sin, he's not a Muslim nor a kafir. While the Khawarij said he's a kafir because of his major sin. The Mu'tazila said, huwa laysa bi Muslim wala kafir, if he's alive and he does a major sin. He's stripped from being a Muslim, and we're not going to go that far to make him a disbeliever. He's in the middle. What middle? He just made up something. And then when he dies, they side with the Khawarij. He's in the fire forever. That's the Mu'tazila. Then you have the Irja, people of Irja. Irja means that you don't believe that actions يسمى الظاهرة الأعمال ليس ظاهر الإيمان, that actions cannot be called Iman. Statement can be Iman. Belief in the heart is Iman, that actions not Iman. This is the Murji'iyyu. So of course, they don't believe Iman goes up and goes down. Because if actions are not according to them Iman, then they can't increase and decrease. Only the statement, your shahada is Iman, and what you believe. But actions, not Iman, according to the Murji'iyyu. They're not actions of Iman, they're just actions. They don't enter into Iman. All of these are different groups of Muslims that broke off from the mainstream of what the Prophet came with in the Sahaba. Using their intellect, philosophizing, because of infiltration, people from different backgrounds coming in, dropping, planting seeds of evil, and now it becomes a belief or action with the Muslims. And you also have, from amongst those different groups that believe that if a person there's the action, the qadriyah, that Allah doesn't know what that person did until he does it. Because remember, the qadr of Allah means he knows before you do it what you're going to do. He knows what you're going to do when you do it. He knows what you're going to do in the future. And he knows if you didn't do something but you were to do it, how that would be done too. Because Allah, he has knowledge of all of that. The Qadariyah, they said Allah doesn't know the actions of his servant. He has no idea until they do it. Then once they do it, then he knows. Like us. I don't know you're going to go to the bathroom. If you go to the bathroom and say, oh, he went to the bathroom. I have no idea you're going to get up and go to your car. But if you go to the car and say, oh, he just told me he went to his car. They said that's Allah, that's Qadariyah. So in the issues of Iman, again, look at the issue, how they are affected. Then you have a Jabariyah. A Jabariyah. Jabr means to be compelled. So the Jabariyah, they said that the Muslim, there's no such thing of him being in the grave. There's no such thing as punishment in the grave. There's no such thing as being punished in the fire, because Allah Jabbarakum, ala hada. Allah created you, right? And everything is done by decree, right? So if everything is created by Allah, including your actions, and what you did was decreed, decided before time, then there's no way you're going to be punished because Allah jabarakum alayhi. Jabara means you've been compelled. So if I drink, I say Allah decreed it, right? You say, yeah. See, Allah forced me to drink because He decreed it. I go steal. I say Allah decreed it, right? I say, yeah, see, Allah forced me to steal because He decreed it. That's the Jabariyah. So consequently, when it comes to Iman, they say then they don't believe that there's a punishment in the grave. Because your deeds, you're not blamed for that. You won't be punished in the fire. They don't believe in a hellfire because they said there's no need for a hellfire. Everything is compelled. Nobody's going to hell. So they don't believe in the fire. Don't believe that it exists. They don't believe that it will be created, until Yom Qiyamah for only the disbelievers. And even those, some from amongst the Jabariyah, they said even nobody will be in the hellfire, even the disbeliever. Everybody will be in Jannah because Allah compelled them to do kufr too. He's a Muslim. He's a Muslim. So when you talk about having correct belief, Arkan, al-Iman, Sitta, al-Khamsa, the 5 to 6 pillars of belief, or Arkan, al-Khamsa, Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam, this is very important, primitive. And you see how it plays out if you don't understand in your everyday life, when you have a calamity, when you have a decrease in Iman, when the Iman increases, then the person can't maintain it because they don't understand these things, so they're not grateful when Allah increases it, so they don't maintain to hold on. As the ulama, they said, Al-Iman yazidu bi ta'ati ar-Rahman wa yanqus bi ta'ati ash-Shaytan. That Iman increases when you obey Ar-Rahman, and it decreases when you obey Shaitan. It's a statement they have. Al-Iman yazid wa yanqus. Iman goes up and goes down. Everybody say Al-Iman.
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 Yazidu.
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 Al-Iman.
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 Yazidu.
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 Yazidu bi-ta'a.
Yazidu bi-ta'a.
Yazidu bi-ta'a.
Yazidu bi-ta'a.
Yazid.
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 Yazidu bi-ta'a.
Yazidu bi-ta'a.
That statement, Al-Iman yazidu bi-ta'a, Al-Iman, a person's belief. Yazidu means it increases the ta'a when you obey Allah. Now we talked about opposites. Just like you have Islam, you have kufr. Just like you have Tawheed, you have Shirk. Just like you have increasement here, you must have decreasement. So Al-Iman yazidu bi ta'a wa yanqus. Everybody say wa yanqus. Wa yanqus. Wa yan yan. Like onion. Yan. Run. Bun. Fun. Yan. Yanqus. Very good. Yanqus. Yanqus. Bima'asiyah. Bima'asiyah. It decreases with sin. It decreases with sin. So let's put that on the scale. And let's transcend and translate Iman to be self-esteem, self-worth. When you feel self-esteem, you feel what? Good. When you have Iman, you feel what?
Good.
When your self-esteem is low, you feel what?
Bad.
When your Iman is low, you feel what?
Bad.
When your Iman is high, you feel what?
Good.
When your self-worth is high, you feel what?
Very good.
Good. your self-worth. You feel valued. You feel important. You feel you have a role. When your self-worth is low, you feel what? Bad. If you wake up and feel like, man, I feel like crap. I lost all my money. My wife left me. My car broke down. Your self-worth is low. It's a test. You shouldn't be happy. Yay, my wife left me. I lost all of my money. Oh, my car stopped. Great. No. You should be sad. But you still, you as the person, you should still feel some self-worth. You're somebody. The make doesn't make you who you are. You make yourself who you are. The make can enhance you, but you make yourself who you are. The wealth doesn't make who you are. It can enhance you, but you make yourself who you are. And that vehicle or material things doesn't make you. It enhances you. So if you wake up and your self-worth, you feel like trash. Or you wake up and you feel so low. Now translate that. Iman. Your Iman is like that. This is an Arabic term. This has to do with how you feel inside, outside, same thing. It just has a religious tie to it. So here, obedience. When you're doing the righteous deeds, it's called amalu salih. Salih means good. Amalu, action. Salih. So anything that's salih is supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to make you feel good. So that's why the ulama, they said, al-iman yuzidu bi-ta'a. It increases when you do obedience. When you say a good word, your iman increases. When you make dua, your iman increases. When you make the salah, your iman increases. When you help somebody out, your iman increases. When you give money for the sake of Allah, your iman increases. When you give a gift to somebody because you love them, which is a righteous deed, your iman increases. When you stay out of trouble. Any troublemakers here? Raise your hand. Let me see your hand. When you stay out of trouble, you feel good. Ask the cats in jail. Go visit them. Nah, it's real. So any obedience, even when you obey the law, you run a light, you get pulled over, you get a ticket, you feel bad. You don't run the light, you stop. Say, man, I almost read it. Then I stop. Feel good. Yeah. So any obedience, but here, the main obedience to Allah increases your iman. And disobedience decreases the iman. So all of this has to do with the arkan of iman. It's tied in the different groups, how you believe, how you think, and we have to understand these issues in order to get the fruits of the arkan, the pillars, the articles of an iman. We'll take some questions now from the topic, inshallah, from the floor. Before I start asking questions.
I have one.
What's your name?
Jose.
Okay, Jose. Hayakum Allah. Barakallahu feek. Now, again, we want questions. We don't want book reports. Because we know the brother. I read Shaikh, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. And, I was with this brother, we were talking. And, what's the question? We go
The statement of Rasulullah Sallallahu says, if a Muslim leaves off Salah, he's no longer Muslim. Explain.
One more time. The Prophet said the Muslim who?
A Muslim who leaves off Salah is no longer a Muslim.
Allah.
At least the English. I can't say I've never read the Arabic part. But the English, that's where it's translated as.
Okay. You believe that translation was good? You trust that book?
I didn't read the book per se.
Did you trust the book? You have to. You mentioned it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct. Let's not get all spooky. I didn't read it in Arabic. Maybe you read it in Arabic and it's still wrong. If you write stuff in Arabic, it's wrong too now. So it's not just because it's not in Arabic. No, it's okay. Hey, so, brother's asking the statement of the Prophet, the one who abandons the Salah, he's a disbeliever. Now, we're talking about Iman, and we're talking about opposites. So how do we understand that? Is that true? If a person doesn't pray and he leaves the salah, then he's a disbeliever. Now we're going to go back to the Khawarij. They believe that if you do any major sin, you are a disbeliever and you go to the fire forever. Now that's general with them. But there are certain things that will nullify a person's iman. It's istihza'u bi sunnati Rasulullah sallallahu aw shay min sunnatihi. Making mockery, making fun, ridiculing the sunnah of the Prophet or anything from the sunnah will take a person from Islam. It will take you from Islam. If you mock anything from the sunnah of the Prophet intentionally, take you from Islam. Allah said in the Quran, so the top Qul abillahi wa ayatihi wa rasulihi kuntum tastahzi'un la ta'tadiru qad kafartum ba'di imanikum. Allah said, is it Allah, His ayah, and or His messenger that you make fun of? You have no excuse. You have disbelieved after you have believed. And that ayah was revealed because people were on a journey and they were talking about the Prophet, making fun of the Prophet, talking about passing time. And Allah revealed that verse to the Prophet. So there's some things that will take you from Islam. Although the Khawarij made it general, there's certain things. One of them, the Prophet said, Al-ahdu baynana wa baynahum as-salah wa man tarakaha faqad kafara kama qala. The contract between us and Allah and the lack of contract between those disbelievers in Allah is our salah. So you have a contract. That's your shahada. But then what locks the contract and keep it in, the Prophet said, is the salah. Al-ahdu baynana wa baynahum as-salah. The difference between our contract and those people's lack of contract who are not Muslim is our salah. وَمَنْ تَرَكَهَا فَقَدْ كَفَرَ. Whoever abandons the salah, فَقَدْ كَفَرَ. He has did the action of kufr. فَقَدْ كَفَرَ. He has disbelieved. Rabb Salami said, بَيْنَ الشِّرْكِ وَالْكُفْرِ تَارِكُ الصَّلَاةِ بَيْنَ الرَّجُلِ وَالشِّرْكِ وَالْكُفْرِ تَارِكُ الصَّلَاةِ. That which stands between a man and shirk and disbelief. In other words, the third thing that will make him a kafir or a mushrik is the abandonment of salah. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, فَإِن تَابَ وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةِ وَآتَ الزَّكَاةِ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. And he was talking about those people who left the religion. Some scholars said the hypocrites said, and if they make repentance and they establish the salah and pay the zakat, pay close attention, subhanAllah. وَإِن تَابَ, if they make tawbah from their hypocrisy. وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةِ, and they establish prayer 5 times a time, 5 times a day. وَآتَ الزَّكَاةِ, and they pay zakat. فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ, then they become your brothers in the deen of Muhammad. So many ulama said this ayah means tarakul salat kafir. That if you stop praying, you leave Islam. And here Allah said, wa'at zakat, and paying zakat. Some scholars said the person purposely doesn't pay zakat. Not sadaqah that you should pay, but zakat, meaning you have a surplus that you not touching. You have to pay money on that and you don't pay it annually. To a poor, to a land, to an institute, to a family, to whatever. You don't pay it. Many scholars said that some of the Sahaba used to say that takes you from Islam too, based upon this ayah. Because Allah said, if they make tawbah, establish the 5 prayer and pay the zakat. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَ الزَّكَاةَ. Allah copied the 2 of them, salat and zakat, salat and zakat, salat and zakat, many times in the Quran. Here Allah brings it with regards to the one who left the salah and makes tawbah in return. If they return and they make the salah and pay the zakat, the ikhwanukum fid-din, then they become your brothers in religion. And what's understood for this, if they don't make tawbah, and they don't make the salah, and they don't pay the zakat, فَلَيْسُوا بِإِخْوَانِكُمْ fid-din, then they're not your brothers in the deen. May Allah protect us. Ameen. However, many ulama said that if a person doesn't pray, بسبب جحود, he doesn't pray because he rejects the obligation. He said, I don't believe I have to pray. All of them agreed he's a kafir with regards to rejecting the prayer and not praying because he rejects it. But some said, but if he doesn't pray because of sin, imagine, again, you drinking and getting high, you're not going to want to pray. Your soul is going to be too dark. Even if you want to pray, imagine how can you pray and you have all of this going on. So they said if it's because of sin or laziness, then it's a sin on you who don't leave the religion, many scholars. And some that said if the person doesn't pray because of laziness or sin, then he still should be killed by a judge who listens to make sure that person is not insane, they're not possessed by jinns, that person just willfully is not praying. Then they give him time to make tawbah, time to return to the prayer. And if they don't, then some say, he should be killed as a punishment, not because he left the religion. But many of them say he should be killed because of ridda, because he apostated by leaving the deen with regards to abandoning the prayer. Some of them said, be careful. يجب أن يفهم فرق بين من لم يصلي ومن لم يصلي أحيانا ولم يصلي بعد أحيانا. It's important to distinguish between a person who doesn't pray altogether and a person who prays sometime, and sometimes they pray. I prayed 3 salat a day. Yesterday I prayed 5. Tomorrow I'm going to pray 1. There's a difference between that one and the one who doesn't pray at all. And then some scholars said, if you miss 1 salat, like this was the statement of Samahat Shaikh Alama, Walidina Shaikh Labas, rahimahullah. Shaikh Ibn Baz, he said, if a person miss 1 salat, faqad kafar, he leaves the religion. And he used the ayah of Surah Al-Furqan. وخلف من بعدهم خلف أضاعوا الصلاة أضاعوا الصلاة واتبعوا الشهوات وسوف يلقون غيا. And there will come a people after you and your generation that will lose and waste their salah because those people will be following their desires and they will sow from me. غيا, the ulama said غيا يعني wadi fi jahannam, meaning they will soon be in the fire. So Shaykh Ibn Baz used that ayah to take the position. If you abandon 1 salah purposely and you die, you go to the fire forever. May Allah protect us. Ameen. One of the best things to do is just don't miss the salah. Don't worry about which side is right. If I pray sometime or I don't pray sometime, or I didn't say that you don't have to pray, so I'm still a Muslim. Well, that position, Shaykh al-Albani took that position. The 4 Imams took that position. As long as you don't deny the prayer, you're still a Muslim. Don't worry about that. Because maybe they're wrong. But what about you? You mean Allah Azza wa Jal. And the best thing is to pray. You don't have to worry about which group was right or wrong. And it shows you the خطورة ماذا ترك الصلاة أو ماذا الخصوصة في صلاة, the importance and the danger of not neglecting the salah or being someone who abandons salah altogether. May Allah help us. Ameen. Should we stop now for the evening or no? Okay, quick. Tight. Next question.
I have a question. I wanted to ask about a few words, just simply just for the meaning of it, because I remember you mentioned the words of miskin and munafiq. I'd like to know like what exactly those mean. Miskin and munafiq.
Miskin wal munafiq. نسأل الله أن يعيننا وأن يعني يحفظنا أن نكون إما من المساكين إما من المنافقين. Amen. May Allah protect us and not make us to be from either the poor or the hypocritical. The word in the Arabic language, miskin, means that person, the haja, they have some needs. They have some needs yani, regarding things of the worldly life. We say poor or needy. This is the word miskin. Allah used this in the Quran regarding fasting and food, and He used it in the Quran. He revealed it as it relates to people that have a right on people that can help them. Now, everybody don't come tomorrow and say, the Shaikh said, we got to help the Masakin, so now you're asking, I need money, I need a coat, I need a wife, I need a car, I'm a scheme. But the reality is that people that are proven to be in that category, then if somebody can help them Islamically, they should help them. They do have a right on people. So, for example, Abu Bakr Siddiq used to give to one of his cousins. That man was miskin, he was poor. The Ahl Sufa, the people that stayed in the masjid, some accounts said there were hundreds at one time. And they went to fight in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were the people who lived in the masjid. But again, they lived in the masjid. They weren't like what we say today, running lights, running water, dirtying up the masjid, making mice and roaches and hanging their boxes in the men's section and baking pies and burning the carpet. But when that brother stayed in the masajid in America, they treat it like worse than a hotel, and they destroy that privilege. So now in many masajid, from coast to coast, they don't let brothers stay in the masjid. But during that time, these were the companions of the messenger. So they were masakin, meaning they didn't have money. They didn't, they used to go out and try to work at the souk, but they didn't have enough to get souk, meaning marketplace. They didn't accumulate enough to save to get married, to get a house. Eventually they did, but at some point in their life, they were considered masakin, poor. Munafiqeen. That word in Arabic means dhul wajhain. Dhul wajhaini. They have two faces. Allah mentioned them in the Quran as well. مُذَبَذَبِينَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ لَا إِلَهَ هَؤُلَاءِ وَلَا إِلَهَ هَؤُلَاءِ. They're going in between this group and that group, and they're not with that group, and they're not with this group. But they front. When they with you, they acting like they with you. When they not with you, they with the other group, they're acting like they with the other group. And when they with you, they trashing the other group. And when with their other group, they trashing you. That's what's munafiq in Arabic, two-faced that we call it. The Prophet said in the Sahih Muslim, Inna ashar nas dhil wajhaini. Inna ashar nasi dhil wajhaini. Verily, from the most evil of people, the one who has two faces. Now, we could give a lot of examples of that. If I'm doing something like I'm with you, then behind your back, I'm eating your flesh. I'm talking about you. I'm diminishing your honor, disrespecting you. That's being two-faced. If I'm acting like I'm working, you give me a job. When you come, I'm working, sweating. You leave, I sit down. 2 hours, 3 hours, don't do nothing. Then as soon as I hear the squeaking brakes, oh, that's the boss. I jump up, give my shovel, that's two-faced. A brother cheating on his wife, or the wife cheating on her husband. That's two-faced. He's acting like he's committed, but he's not. She's acting like she's committed, but she's not. Person acting like they're going into business with you, but they're trying to steal your business on the DM. All of these examples of two-faced. So that's hypocrite. Nifaq. You show one thing, you do another. I'm a Muslim now in the masjid, but when I leave, I'm going to go get high, drink some wine, sing Christmas carols, smoke some joint, put some coke and some weed. What ayah living now? May Allah protect us. I mean, that's a person who's two-faced. Now in the class, he's answering all the questions. This, that, Shaikh, I'm going to question this, that. He leave, he's like he's not with the Muslim. That's being two-faced. He's living a life like a kafir. That's a two-faced person. The one who's not two-faced, he is how he or she is. That's it. So we use those terms. Sometimes miskeen could mean poor in religion too. Sheikh Mukbal used to say, yeah, miskeen. Oh, poor one. When he's talking about the people of bid'ah, who are worshiping graves, and the people who are hizbiyun, groups and cults and cliques. Because you're miskeen in your religion, poor in your understanding. If you think you could be a group, a clique, if you think you could, rally people and bring something, other than what's true to get what you want. If you're going to be a person who you're going to invent, better than the messengers, so you bring innovation, something to profit. That's a person who's miskeen, I think. Lots of miskeen people here, wallahi, in the masjid. Alhamdulillah, Allah's blessed them to be repelled. But they're miskeen. Come making fitna. When is the masjid open? Is the masjid open for all salat? What do you think? What do you think? Why are you asking that? Because you're in fitna. But you act like you ain't in fitna. That's a miskeen person. I ain't never seen nothing about the imam. Talking all kind of trash, but you think it didn't reach the imam, so then you kind of try to act like, you humble. That's a miskeen person out here. You ask a person to clean up, they walk right out. But they just lick bones and lick their fingers and ate. That's a miskeen person. We say we need $10,000. You got $3,000 in your pocket, you won't give $10. That's a miskeen person. Miskeen. Brothers beat their wives. But if it comes to something in the street, you're not going to bust a brick. That's a miskeen person. He's a punk. He's a coward. He's a whip. He's miskeen. Miskeen. So that term miskeen is not nothing light. It's something to cringe. And when Ahlul Ilm use it, they use it in a harsh way. Who are miskeen? May Allah not make us miskeen. I mean, it's better to be miskeen in dunya than to be miskeen in the deen. If you're miskeen in the dunya, you don't have no money, no problem. You have dignity. But if you're miskeen deen-wise, character-wise, subhanAllah, Allah will leave you to be disgraced. May Allah not leave us to be disgraced. Amen.
Question, Sheikh. So,
How many pillars of Islam is it?
5,
How many pillars of Islam is it?
5,
You said 6, you Jama'at Tabligh. They made 6 pillars of Islam. We said Islam. Don't be confused by pillars of Islam, pillars of Eman. How many pillars of Eman? How many? Somebody said 56. You got 56 pillars of Eman. How many? 5 or 6. Okay. And how many pillars of Islam?
5.
What's the highest level of Eman?
La ilaha.
What's the lowest level of Iman?
Moving something out of the way.
Oh. Now, before you ask that question, sometimes the Muslim can do actions and statements of kufr and still be a Muslim. Just like a kafir can do actions of Iman and still be a kafir. If there's something in the road and somebody moves that thing and he's a Christian, does that make him Muslim?
No.
And if the Muslim, he goes out and says, let me get one of the rib tip sandwiches with some coleslaw, and he eats that pork sandwich, does that make him a kafir?
No.
Right benefit. Ask your question. Fadal.
I think I worded it wrong, so I'm trying to read from my paper. You spoke about how if we are all no, the question you said on something.
What's your name?
Nasir.
Okay, Barakallah fi.
You spoke about how I believe the way I go. If we are all born Muslim, why can't we just say Ashhadu an la ilaha? Oh my God, my voice.
Take your time.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Remember how you were talking about how the shahadatain was two?
Yes.
You can't say
Yes.
this, but how, if we are all born Muslim, how come we can't just say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah?
MashaAllah. That's an excellent question. So the question is referring to what the ulama said, because again, I'm not quoting. I mean, I don't have books in front of me, but I don't talk about it. But I did this for a long time. And I still have teachers and still in the college. I still, most of my time, this is what I do. So I'm not talking from the side of my neck. I'm talking from what Ahlul Ilm, the ulama, they mentioned of the past and the present. So when they talk about Shahada, there's a question. Is it sufficient for the Muslim to just say La ilaha illallah, as opposed to the non-Muslim, when he or she takes Shahada, they have to bear witness to La ilaha illallah, no one should be worshipped with Allah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, and then Muhammad is the Messenger of Allah. So why is it the question, if we're all born Muslim, why can't we just say one, if we're non-Muslim, but we were born Muslim? That statement, we were all born Muslim, has an explanation to it. Some scholars said it means we were born Muslim. Others said that we were born to incline towards the truth when we hear it. And they get this from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said, Kulukum ma'luda yulid ala fitra. All of you have been born and have been birthed into this world on the fitrah. So fitrah is the thing that's in the hadith, fitrah. Now fitrah is mentioned in the Quran, fitrah. Fitrah is mentioned when it talks about Ibrahim. Fitrah is also mentioned when it's talking about the way Allah made every human being. The Prophet mentions fitrah for eating after breaking your fast. So fitrah has a lot of words, a lot of meanings, pardon me, that it could mean. These scholars that say we were born Muslim, they're translating and meaning fitrah to mean Islam. Because the second part of this hadith, the Prophet said, وَأَبَوَاهُ. It's his parents that makes him Jew, Christian, or fire worshiper. So if we take that, you would think fitrah means, without knowing anything about any of those other man-made religions, that person naturally was a Muslim. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentions similarly in the Quran about this issue in the Quran when Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions وَلَهُ يَشْجُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ قَرْحًا وَطَوْعًا, that everything in the heavens and the earth prostrates. So prostrate here means submits to Allah. So that's why you have people say the birds are Muslim, the cows are Muslim, the trees are Muslim. But this, Allah said, Taw'an wa karhan. Taw'an means willingly. Karhan means unwillingly. So when we talk about submission, you have a submission that's willingly and unwillingly. Like, for example, when you eat, Allah has made it where you got to go to the bathroom. No matter who you are, there's no way you're going to eat and not go to the bathroom. That's the type of submission. No matter who you are, animal, human, you're going to sleep. After some period of time, your body's just going to crash out. That's the type of submission. You're doing what Allah has designed and caused you to do. But then there's the type that we say, I'm a Muslim, meaning you willingly submit to Allah. And that includes you saying, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, as we mentioned from the Eman is to say it in your tongue, to believe it in your heart, and exemplify it with your body part. So because of that difference between the scholars, does fitrah mean Islam? Does fitrah mean the natural way Allah made us as a child? You know, anything about Judaism, Christianity, and any other thing, you naturally submit in your mind, in your heart, your body, to the one that created you. And that's why that argument is like that. You get it? Barakallahu feekum. Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Run it back.
You were born in submission, but your circumstances make you otherwise.
Run it back. Somebody else.
It's the willingness of the submission.
MashaAllah. Run it back. Somebody else. Come on, y'all. Y'all not going to eat. I can't do that stuff a lot. Everybody going to answer real quick. All at once, like a choir. They want to eat now. Start with Allah. Run it back. Somebody else. There's a difference between what fitrah means in that hadith. Does it mean Islam or the natural way? So if Allah made you a natural person that's clean from any shirk, then that means you can't be anything but what? If Allah brought you as a baby without any knowledge of kufr and shirk, but you know who your Lord is by nature, you can't be anything but what? Ayyawah. You get it? But you may not have said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, which that's really part of Iman. You may not believe it in your heart like someone who's seen it and has it reinforced. You may not have prayed or fast like somebody who does it and feels the Iman, say, yeah, this is religion of truth. But inside you just know, Allah is my creator. He created me with that in me to know that He is. No statue, no, you don't know anything about that stuff. You just raw, fresh, clean. Somebody has to teach you Jesus. Somebody has to teach you, Judaism. And even that child who's, clean is going to say something against them like, that's not right. Or, they'll respond. You say, wow, that kid, because inside he knows that don't sound right. Because of the fitrah, how he's made. But some scholars say fitrah here means Islam because of the context of the hadith. Is that clear?
No.
Say. Any more questions?
Yes.
We got two more, and then we're going to call the adhan, inshallah.
All right. Translation of those who believe and do righteous deeds. What are righteous deeds? What's that word translated from?
Righteous deeds, amalu salih. Amalu is action, and what type of action? Salih. Salih means something that's good. And good meaning that the Sharia. When we say the Sharia means Quran, the book of Allah, the authentic sunnah of the Prophet, the statements and agreed upon actions of the Sahaba. Then this is what we understand to be righteousness. So when we say righteous deeds, that which agrees with the book of Allah and the sunnah of His messenger. We were going to bring, and we will, in the closing part of the program, the two conditions for these to be accepted. One of them is that it must be in line with what the Prophet came with, but the proof they use to say that is amal salih, righteous deeds. So anything that's considered righteous, our Prophet had to teach us that. Anything that's from the religion of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that's righteousness. Yeah. So those who do righteous deeds, anything that the Quran, Allah's speech, and He told us and confirms, anything Prophet said, and the ulama said even if it's from the past religions, so as long as it agrees with what the Prophet came with, that's amal salih. Like fasting the 3 days, a day on, a day off, a day on, a day off. That's the fast of who? Dawood. Is that something that's righteousness?
Yes.
No.
Somebody said no.
No,
Yes.
yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Why?
Because
It's a fast of a prophet.
the Prophet Muhammad used to do it himself.
Because
Prophet,
Yahud is a prophet.
right?
No prophet is going to do like in the Bible, evil things, drink, make zina, sleep with somebody's wife, sleep with their daughter, kill a man for his wife. That's what those people wrote. Shame on them about their prophets. But we know prophets don't do that. So any prophet's action is amal salih. When it comes to our prophet, then he's not going to not co-sign what another prophet did, because all the prophets did amal salih. So you find the prophet saying the best fast after Ramadan is the fast of Dawood. So anything that any prophet did, according to Quran and our prophet, then that will be amal salih. Then you add, including what our prophet came with. So as long as that prophet, what he did doesn't go against what the prophet came with, then it's still considered righteous deeds for us. But if he came with something that goes against our prophet, then we can't do it. It's still righteousness for him, but we can't do it. So when it says for us who believe and do righteous deeds, that's anything that any prophet did that is in line with the last revelation, Quran, and the Sharia of our prophet, the way of our prophet, then that's what's considered righteous deeds, amal salih. Is that clear? Give me 5 examples of amal salih, and then we'll call that done. Crossing an old lady across the street who's stuck with her bags. Is that amal salih? Somebody said no. Is it? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Why?
If you're doing a good deed, you're helping somebody.
You're helping somebody. Okay, take it. Helping the needy. That lady's miskeen, meaning she's weak, she needs some help. Take it. Okay, give me another one. The prophet, did not he help old people?
Yes.
Muslim, non-Muslim? Yeah. Okay, give me another one quickly. A righteous deed. Huh? Who? Qiyam, what's that?
Praying late, the last third.
Okay, praying the last third. Okay, he's religious. He said Qiyam. I didn't know what that word was. Okay. Okay, give me something else.
Feeding the poor.
Taking something taking something off the road that might be an obstruction.
Okay, moving some obstacle out of a person's path. That's righteousness. 2 more.
Visiting the sick.
Visiting the sick. And
Feeding the poor.
Charity.
feeding the poor. So visiting the sick, does it make a difference who they are? Muslim, non-Muslim, male, female?
No.
Anyway.
Give me a proof that it doesn't make a difference.
Humanity.
The Prophet Muhammad used to visit the sick people, and some of them was a Muslim.
Okay, mashallah. Prophet visited the sick, wasn't Muslim. Like the Jewish boy who was sick, and the Prophet told him, Eslam, Teslam, and the boy looked at his father, and his father said, obey Abu Qasim, and he took Shahada, and then the boy died. So that's a good example right there. Now,
Would visiting the grave be a righteous good?
yes, as long as you're not going to pray to the one in the grave,
No.
make do it. No, but people do it. But don't say no, especially from the countries, African countries, Asian countries. They do it. We too scared to go to the graves in America. We watch too many scary movies. But them people, they live in the grave. Yeah, some people live in the grave in Egypt. Live in the grave. I've seen it when I could see. They live in the graves. They're called Ashab al-Qubur. They live in, like people live in the park home, they live in the graveyard. Big graveyard. Graveyard take up this whole main street. So they're not scared. So as long as you're not making istighatha, making dua to them, and slaughtering on behalf of them, if you think they're going to save you, then yeah, you could visit the grave. But according to the way of the Prophet, you do what the Prophet said, and you have the right intention of visiting the grave, then that is يعني عمل صالح. هذا صلى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. إن شاء الله تبارك وتعالى we're going to call them down for Maghrib, pray, and then we'll come back with closing remarks.
Turn off stream. Turn off stream.